and you want to build your community. First of all, I think that's super important. And podcasts, or something we could lead into, we've already talked about this, but newsletters, email campaigns, these are all ways that you can build your community. And if you have a podcast, you become the authority.
Lunch with Noam. Lunch with Noam. Lunch with Noam. Lunch with Noam.
Hey everyone, this is Norm Farrar, aka the Beard Guy here, and welcome to another Lunch with Norm, the e-commerce and Amazon FBA podcast. Today, we're going to be talking to my buddy Kevin King, see what's happening in Amazon and whatever else he's got going. Okay, like I said, Kevin King's going to be joining us today. I don't think I have to do much of an introduction. He is the founder of $1 Billion Seller Summit. In fact, you're probably seeing this while Kelsey and I are at the BDSS Sellers Summit. So $1 Billion Seller Summit. He's also, oh God, I'll let him talk. He's got a big bio. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor. And where are we? I got to do a shout out. I always forget this. Okay. Hey, Amazon sellers ever faced with Amazon suspensions, ASIN hiccups, or IP headaches? Introducing Seller Basics, your Amazon accounts guardian, which is $99 a month, or code NORM, $89 a month. Seller Basics offers a dedicated team to shield your business from these challenges. Plus, this membership offers free legal consultations from seasoned e-commerce attorneys. And there's no long-term contracts, and you just need to cancel your membership within 30 days or give them notice for 30 days. View Seller Basics on Amazon as your Amazon accounts health plan, and you can check them out at sellerbasics.com. Now for the nasty disclaimers. Seller Basics is not an insurer or law firm. Consultations come from independent firms. Results can vary. Membership is needed before events leading to claims, and terms apply. All right, now let's get back. Unfortunately, Kelsey's not here today. So all I can tell you is he's probably having a great time doing something awesome over at the $1 Billion Sellers Summit. But let's bring in my buddy, Kevin King.
What's up, Mr. Farrar? How you doing?
Hey, how are you,
Beard
sir?
Nation, Beard Nation. How you doing out there?
The
Hit
Beard
that like
Nation.
button. Hit that like button.
Or something like that, or ring that bell, or whatever you have to do.
Ring that cowbell. Ding, 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 ding. It's lunchtime.
Yeah.
Come running, come all.
There's never enough cowbell, as Will Ferrell used to say.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
How you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Fighting a little cold when we're recording this, but like you said, this is a pre-record for when we're out in Hawaii at the $1 Billion Seller Summit. And hopefully, as we speak, everybody's having a good time. Either, I don't know what day this will air, but maybe they just finished the race, or they're listening to some really good presentations, or who knows what they're doing right now.
So I guess when I think of Kevin King and the amount of events that I've gone to, it's always the hacks contest, 10 hacks for AI, newsletters. But today, you might treat us with some real hacks.
I might. Yeah, I might. I've been fighting this allergy that has gotten me not sleeping very well for the last week. It's getting better. So I'm much better now. And then I had some other medical stuff that I ended up doing. And so it kind of got put on top of that. So didn't make for a comfortable times for the last week.
Well, you're here now, and
right.
You're going to be all set.
I always show up for you.
Oh, well, thank you, sir. You know, one of the things we've been highlighting on the podcast, and one of the things I'm very proud of is, and this will have launched by now, but is our new podcast, which is the Marketing Misfits. So that's aired. It launched on April 30th. Any thoughts?
Yeah, I like it. I like what we're doing with that. I mean, you and I both have our own podcast. You have obviously this one, the Lunch with Norm, and I have the AM PM podcast I do with EM10. They're both, focused more sort, not just Amazon, but heavily towards Amazon. But we decided, hey, if we should do something together, because we could actually go out there, and we both like talking marketing. We both have been around smoking cigars and telling good stories about all kinds of different things. Like, well, if we just took this and put it on a podcast, the two of us just either bantering back and forth and talking strategies among us like we are right now, or maybe having a guest on. So it's a combination of both of those. And yeah, it took us, since we both, the first few episodes, I really like them. They're really, really good. Like you said, it came out April 30th. I think they turned out really, really well, but we took us a little while. We've got what, 12, 15 of them in the
Yeah.
can right now. But it took us a little while to kind of get our pacing and our rhythm, and not stepping on each other and everything. But I think as it's evolving, it's going to be even way better. And I think it's going to be. We got some really cool guests. These are not the typical guests that are doing the Amazon podcast that you hear. These are people from all walks of life, and they're misfits. They're people that are marketing not the corporate way, not the normal way, and a lot of interesting stories. I mean, remember that first guest that we had, Katie, tell us about her kids. Where if they want to get a phone or a car, she's like, I'll help them, but they're going to have to start a business first and show 2 months of profit of P&L statements to me that are profitable. And once they do that, then I'll help them. And she's got like 6 kids, and they're all creating these at age 11 or 12, 13, creating these profitable businesses. It's crazy. So she's teaching them that entrepreneur life, and really cool stories, and really sharp lady. And got a lot of other really cool guests on there too. So if you haven't checked that out, you go to marketingmisfits.co is the website. And there's a link up there to listen to podcasts. You can find it on Apple, and you can find it on YouTube and a bunch of other places too, wherever you listen to podcasts. But check that out. And I think you might like it.
Yeah, and I guess one of the reasons why we did this too, and one of the reasons for the name, is there's just a lot of marketers out there. There's tons of them, but we wanted people that did something different. They did something outside of the traditional marketing to really succeed. So, breaking the mold to succeed.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean, too, we get to meet people that we might not have otherwise met, get to learn things ourselves about them. So podcasting is both you and I. For some people, it's terrifying to sit there and, oh, what am I going to ask this person? What do I got to do? I got to get a list of questions. I think both of us are more just like whatever comes will be. A lot of times, it's not like we don't script out. Especially me, I think you're pretty much the same way. But on Marketing Misfits or my podcast, there's not. Here's the 20 questions. I just had somebody want me to come on their podcast, and they said, "Well, we need to do a pre-interview." I'm like, "For what?" "Oh, well, we just want to go over the questions and go over the format." I said, "I'm not doing that. If you want me on your podcast, I'll come on the podcast, but I'm not wasting time going on a pre-interview. You either want me or you don't." Um, and they said, okay. You want us to send you the questions in advance?" I was like, "No, I don't want to know them. I don't need to see them." I remember like Manny Coates at Helium 10 when we used to do webinars, the Illuminati back before it was Helium 10 Elite. We did one training, and then we did one Q&A session a month. In the Q&A session, he always wanted to have the people submit the questions in advance so that he could study the answer or make sure, he knew the answer to answer them. I was like, I didn't like that. I like them just submit them and let's just answer them.
Hmm.
Whatever line comes to mind. But some people are not nervous, are nervous doing that. They want to have that control. They want to not be caught off guard, or make sure that they say the right thing. So that's why they do that. And you can tell when you listen to a podcast, I think, the way the guest and the host interact, you can oftentimes tell that this is just not good, and or not. I think you said it, and it was a good point that you made when we were talking about us on the Marketing Misfits. Like, Kevin, you're more like a journalistic style. You're the guy that's more the journalist going in there asking the questions, and me, Norm, I'm more the conversationalist style. I'm like, yeah, you know what? That's actually really true. You're more the story guy, and it's like we need to emphasize that and play on those strengths. And once we kind of figured that out, I think the podcast got even better together, and where we could do that. And so when you're listening to podcasts out there, and a lot of times people come on, I don't realize it, because but for a lot of people to come on the AMPM podcast, it's a big deal for them. When I invite them, they turn around and like that's been on their vision board. I don't always think of these things, but it's on their vision board since 2019 when they got an Amazon FBA or something. And for me to invite them is an honor for them. And I'm just inviting someone who I think is a good guest. I'm not even thinking of it in that way. They come on, they're nervous as heck. And by the end of it, they're like, oh, that wasn't so bad. That was really cool. You got me talking about a whole bunch of stuff that I didn't even know we were going to talk about. But that's what I want to do is you're a fly on the wall. It's conversational. It's like if you were just, sitting somewhere, smoking a cigar and just listening in on someone else's conversation and maybe uh, participating every once in a while. That's the feeling that I try to get.
Yeah, and I 100% agree what you just said, especially about styles, and why I think this marketing misfits is going to be so awesome because of the two different styles that we have. One of the things I try to do, some people have asked me at events uh, about exactly like you were talking about. Um, I don't even I don't know who's being on the podcast. I have no clue, except when we do pre-records. I sit down 5 minutes before, turn on the computer. Oh, we're talking to so and so. I want to be a surprise, and then we start talking. So I do get some talking point. I want to know about the person, but this could be a month ago. This could be 3 months ago. I know a little bit about the person, but then I don't know who is coming on Monday, Wednesday, or Friday. And I think that that's a great way of doing it. So we both got that similar style. Let me
And
see.
you have I book all my own guests. But you have, I think Kelsey, right, books most of your guests, or you have a
Irish does.
Irish. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you give her a list and say here's some interesting people,
I
or
don't
she
know
just
who's
going
coming
out
on.
or
There's
she
a lot of people that reach out,
yeah.
and they do send it over to me. What I tell them is go research, have they been on a podcast, listen to them, will it fit in to our style? Because we've had some people, uh, I've learned on one of our big podcasts that it was bad. And I'm not going to say the guess, but early on, it was bad. And so I just said from that point, that step forward, if somebody can't talk or we can't have a conversation, really don't want them on the podcast, even though they might be really insightful and drop some knowledge. If I can't talk to them, or if they're just bad at just having a conversation, it's tough. So now everybody that we bring on, we have to have at least they have to show us that they can communicate in an informal environment. Like they'll go out and look at I'm talking about Irish, will go out and take a listen to them if they've been on other podcasts. And then what you'll get is a lot of people trying to come on. Like during the old aggregator boom, every aggregator and his mother was reaching out, and it was just like, what are you going to talk about? Oh, we've already covered this like 10 times. So we had to be careful on the topics. So
Do you get
it's
agencies too reaching out? Like there's
yeah, oh
actually
yeah,
agents and they represent speakers, and it's like this
oh yeah,
whole marketing campaign, and they'll send you their bio and samples to
yep.
stuff, and I don't like those. I've tried a
I
couple of those on the AMPM podcast, and I typically try to stay away from those.
We were talking about a guy that's going to be on the show just before we got on, and on the other podcast, and he came from one of these agencies. Now, there's a lot of really bad. It's like SEO or social media, managers.
No, there's some
There's a
good
lot of
ones.
bad ones out
I'm not
there,
knocking them. Yeah, there's some good people that just have
right?
and they're good speakers, but sometimes those they don't. Those are the ones that a lot of times you got to be more careful to make sure they fit.
Yeah,
Is
and a
it?
lot of them are bigger business, so and it has nothing to do with e-commerce. So
Yeah,
it's a bit of a challenge. Like anybody who's never done a podcast and anybody who has a brand, try if you can do a podcast. I did not want to do a podcast. The kids, this is during COVID, convinced me to do this, and
that the
I
that's That's the goats in your backyard.
What's that? Yes, we have
You
three
said
kids.
the kid. You said the kids. That's
Yep,
those
yep,
the goats, right?
exactly.
That grazing back there.
Yeah, I that's you can see them from here. There's Quentin, Kelsey, and Hayden. They they work for their food. But I forget what I was going to say. Thank you, Kevin, very much. What was I going to say?
You're talking about the agents bringing on guests.
Yeah, and sometimes all the topics that they want to talk about are just outside of it. Oh, I know what I was saying. But if you're a brand and you want to build your community, first of all, I think that's super important. And podcasts, or something we could lead into, we've already talked about this, but newsletters, email campaigns, these are all ways that you can build your community. And if you have a podcast, you become the authority. It's like sending out 100 press releases. You become the authority.
Podcasts are great, and it's a still a booming category of media. And some podcasts get 50 downloads and only 50 people hear you. Other ones, like, look at Joe Rogan what's he getting, $250 million on his contract
Yeah.
for doing that for Spotify. Some of them get 4 million. What the Kelsey brothers from the Kansas City Chiefs and Philadelphia Eagles, they're getting like 1 million downloads, and that's led to him getting, was he hosting some game show now or something, that I'm smarter than a celebrity. I think it's a playoff of I'm smarter than a fifth grader.
Mm.
It led to that. And podcasts can be great. The one thing I don't like about podcasts is I wish I could consume more. So there's a lot of great content, but I don't have hours and hours and hours to listen to it. You got loyal people coming on here. It's part of their daily routine. I see them, every time I come on, here's the same 10 people or something that are on every single time. And then you got others coming in and out. There's a lot more than 10 people here, but others coming in and out. But that's just part of their day. They sit down and actually have their lunch and sit at their desk or whatever. And
They have
and
lunch
listen,
with Norm.
and lunch with Norm and listen to the podcast, which is cool. But that's just part of their routine. But there's a lot of podcasts that I would love to listen to. I just can't, even if I put them on 2X. I'm not just, for me, I have to listen to a podcast and be doing something else at the same time. I can't just sit and, like, unless it's a very technical podcast. But I can't just like sit on my chair and just listen. I don't know, maybe that's the ADD in me or something. I've got to be doing something. I got to be driving somewhere, so I'm accomplishing another goal, and I'm listening to the podcast. And that I do that when I drive to Dallas. I drove to Dallas back in early May.
8 hours.
Yeah, not this time. For a conference, and I listen to podcasts on the way there and on the way back, or when I'm shipping. I have a little shipping area. I live in a condo in downtown Austin. And I have 2 garages for cars, but I have one of them set up as a warehouse, and it's got a whole shipping station and one of those little peanut things that puts the little styrophones in the boxes, and all it's like a little miniature warehouse. And I'll go down there in the fall, my calendar business, and I still personally ship. And people sometimes say, "What the hell are you doing that for? You should just hire some kid." It's like, no, I enjoy doing it. It's a break for me. I'm standing up. It's an hour a day for a couple months, and I get to listen to a podcast. It's kind of almost like my little man cave or something. And so I'll listen to podcasts. I'll catch up on stuff. But if I'm not doing one of those 2 things, just to lay around and listen to them, I can't. And so now with these AI tools, there's some pretty cool tools out there that you can summarize some of these podcasts with. And I'm actually doing that with $1 Billion Sellers newsletter. We have it coming out this summer. We have a feature where we found over 100, I think it's 117 or 120 podcasts in the Amazon space, talking about everything from PPC to just general topics to whatever. We're summarizing almost all of them using this tool. It's a special tool. There's a lot of tools that do it, but we found one that's pretty kick-ass, and we customized it. And we're going to be summarizing them and pulling out the bullets and putting that out as a newsletter, probably on Sundays, with like, here's a paragraph from, Lunch with Norm was 3 times last week. Here's a paragraph about what they talked about. Here's the top 2 bullets. You want to listen to it, click right here, and it'll take you right to your YouTube page or whatever, minute 42 and 17 seconds, and you can listen to it. And we're doing some cool stuff like that. If you just want, I only care about the PPC stuff. Tell me just the PPC. You can filter it to show me just the top 10 PPC things of the week. And so that kind of stuff, um, I think is good. And if if you see something that, oh, wow, this looks like an amazing topic or looks very interesting, you can go listen to the whole thing. Because sometimes you start listening to a podcast, you look at Podbeam, which is a tool that a lot of people use to analyze their stats. And sometimes they'll show you, you get an hour podcast and people only listen to 16 minutes
Right.
of it. And some people listen all the way through, but the average is 16. So maybe those first 16 minutes, something wasn't that, it was just a bunch of banter and it was okay. It was fun. But at minute 42, some amazing stuff. The discussion went down a different rabbit hole and some amazing stuff came out and you totally miss it.
Yeah.
And you never go back to see it. And so that's what we're trying to accomplish and provide. And it's going to be a paid service, probably about $20 a month, which is pretty cheap, just to cover our cost of doing it. But I think it's going to be really, really cool.
Yeah, even with what we're doing, just what you were talking about, we could take this hour long, because it's typically an hour, and just break out the clips. We were talking about just before you came on, and we can summarize on YouTube and just have these snippets for 5 minutes or something like that, and put them on YouTube. So you might have had to cancel or do something, get on a call, do some work, but these are the highlights. And I'm just thinking maybe we make each podcast have their own playlist of this snippets if people want to listen.
Yeah, this tool does that for you. It's actually pretty cool. We can't give everybody access to the tool, but if you have access to the internal tool, it'll do that for you. I'm not sharing this tool with anybody right now because it's a competitive advantage. But it actually will do that. The exact thing. It'll say, here's the top 10 things on this podcast, and you just click and listen to that section if you want to. It's pretty cool. But you were talking too about the hacks earlier. Like, I'm known for these hacks, and that kind of goes into these short clips that you're talking about. People, they're busy, and they want to get to tell me the meat, tell me the essence, tell me what I got to do right now to make money or save money or live a better life. That's what they want. And the banter and the beating around the bush is all nice and flowery, but it's not what they really want. So that's why when I do a hack webinar, we just did that AI webinar in early May. That was badass. That we did the AI for eCommerce webinar. If you missed that, it was live on May 1st. Be sure to go and check it out on YouTube. It's on the YouTube marketingmisfits.co YouTube channel. You can get to it through marketingmisfits.co or just search it on YouTube. Check out that webinar. We had about 20 people presenting. It's about a 2.5 hour webinar. It's a pretty long webinar. And we had some people submitting from the audience. It was good. But why do we do it that way? Instead of someone come on and spend 30 minutes or 45 minutes droning on about some cool technique or tool, it gets boring. It's like, cut it to the essence, do it in 6 minutes. And writing shorter is harder than writing longer.
Oh, absolutely.
People always think, oh, I can just whip out a little short little story. That's going to be quicker than writing a big novel. A lot of times, no. Writing shorter is harder than writing longer if it's written well. And so that when you have to condense it down, you cut out the riffraff. And just like on my newsletter, on the newsletter that I do it on Beehive, and there's a limit. Once you hit 98 kilobytes in size of the email, Gmail will start to block it. They'll start to, they'll truncate down at the bottom and cut off and say, click here to see the rest of the email, or it will just filter it and put in promotions or spam. And so there's a little warning that comes on when you hit 98. Sometimes when I write my newsletter, I'm at 110 and I'm like, dang, what do I got to cut? So it forces me to go through and cut out a paragraph that's really doesn't say anything. And it's a paragraph, it's a transition paragraph between something. And it's a little fluffy, but there's no essence. If you put that paragraph by itself, it can't stand by itself.
Is that why you edit me out of the pictures?
It's always why. It's usually because there's something in your beard.
Oh
It's
yeah,
usually because there's something in your beard.
little
Uh,
kids or something
I'm
hiding
just
in there. Yeah.
I'm just protecting you. But yeah, so that's something that a lot of people don't think about, when it comes to this kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's what you're talking about here too is everything that you've talked about is a marketing misfit. Just think the podcast, the snippets that you're doing for that. I've never heard anybody doing that. And when you told me about this about a month ago, I thought that was brilliant, a really smart idea. I would never tell that to your face, but
Well, I appreciate that.
yeah,
I appreciate that.
no, it's great, and all these fresh ideas. One thing I can tell you about Kevin is fresh ideas. It's
It's not
it's
so much
not
that they're fresh. All it's they're a different take on something. There's
right.
really nothing new out there in the world. I mean, there occasionally, something new does come along, but it's rare that something brand new. It's usually a twist or a turn on something that already exists, and it's either using a different medium or a different messaging style or something. Um, but yeah, I am always trying to innovate
Well,
and
and
come up with
and
something different that's not just the same old. And it's a problem for me. So, for me, like I said, I would love to listen to these 117. There's probably some valuable stuff. I can't. So how do I fix that? That's that old classic problem solution thing of developing a product. If there's identify the problem and then create the solution, whether it's a physical product, a SaaS tool, or whatever it is. And that's what I'm doing. So it's a problem for me, and I think others would enjoy it as well. So why not make it into a business?
I think a lot of the listeners know about this next story I want to talk to you about. And I found out when we first really got to know each other, and that was on the beach in Hawaii having a cigar. Uh,
Mhm.
and we were talking about what we sell. And one of the things that I'm not ever worried about is competition. I think I'll do my thing, and if somebody else wants to do their thing, at worst, you're getting extra traffic onto a search page. But we were sitting down there, and we found out that we were selling the same thing: bully sticks. I was
Yeah,
doing bully sticks, you were doing bully sticks, and just exactly what you were saying, taking it could be an old idea, making it fresh, just redoing it, rethinking it. I love this story. I learned it back at the Illuminati. I think it was the very first one that you talked about. This was your gourmet bully sticks that you were selling for like three of them for $45, $50,
like 54.95. Yeah,
and they were selling.
yeah,
That's crazy. So I don't know if you just want to just do a brief summary of what you did.
yeah. So in 2015 or 16, I can't remember which year it was. I was launching a bunch of different private label brands, and one of the one of my brands was in the pet space. And this is before Helium 10 existed, really before Jungle Scout or any of these other 10 tools. There was something amazing there was a couple basic keyword tools, merchant words or something, and others.
Yep.
And one of these keyword tools popped up when I did a search and said, "Whoa, the word bully sticks is a huge amount of searches." I'm like, "What the heck is a bully stick?" I had dogs, but I didn't even know what a bully stick was. So I look it up and I'm like, "Oh, it's the penis of a cow." Oh, okay, that's interesting. Dogs like to chew the penis.
No, no, no. Cows don't
A
have
bull,
penises.
bull. Sorry, penis of a bull. So it's a penis. That's why it's a bully. Sorry, penis is of a bull. Um, they use every piece of the meat on the body, every piece of the body, for something. And I was like, all right, this looks interesting. So I started diving into it, and I'm noticing that on Amazon, everybody's basically selling the same thing. They're taking 30 of these. They look like straws, basically. There's 6 inches and there's 12 inches, are the two typical sizes. And they looks like a plastic bag with 30 straws in it. And they put a little label on the outside, says, American made bully sticks or bully sticks from Nevada or whatever it says. And I start reading all the reviews, and this is before all the AI tools and before all the other ways to summarize this stuff quick. I had to actually sit down and read like 3,000 reviews myself. And I started noticing these trends of people complaining about where is this meat from. There was a big scare of, is this meat from China or from somewhere else? There was because of where the bully stick, the part of the cow it comes from, it's got a smell to it. So a lot of people were like, well, when my dog chews this, the house stinks to high heaven, smells like urine.
Oh, it's
Um,
horrible.
and then also that will then stain if the dog jumps up on the couch and is holding it with its paw and sitting there chewing it. There's a little bit of stain left behind, and some of them were complaining, oh, they go through the sticks really quick because they're kind of hollow. And so I was like, how can I fix this problem? I can't compete on that, but what if I know I had a new puppy at the time? I'm like, I would not feed her these, but what would I feed her? I like nice food. I like nice stuff. I'm willing to spend money on my dog. For some people, their dog is livestock. It stays in the backyard and it's just like a chicken. But for other people, it's part of the family. So I knew people would spend money if you did something right. And there's a big movement at the towards grass fed and organic and all that. So I called up one of these bully stick manufacturers like in Wisconsin or somewhere, and I said, hey, I know you guys make these for a lot of these different people, but that's not what I'm looking for. Who can you tell me that's like makes the premium bully sticks in the world? And they said, oh, you got to talk to this one dude over in New Hampshire. He's got like a little shop and out back. He has this like little prep area where he makes his own custom bully sticks. And they're super expensive though. I'm like, all right, whatever. So I call this guy up. He's like, yeah, I'm a classically trained French chef. I worked in Michelin starred restaurants. I got into the pet space and I do bully sticks. All my beef is U.S. certified Angus steers or whatever, and the way we do it is it's a 15-step process, all organic. There's no smell. We don't stretch them to try to get more out of the meat. That's why this hollow feeling that other people have because they're stretching them to try to make them get 2 sticks out of what should be 1. It's not kind of like cutting the cocaine, with something, with some salt or something or whatever they
I
do.
don't know.
I saw it on the movies.
Oh,
But it's yeah. So I talked to him. I said, all right, how much 3 12-inch sticks? What would be my cost? He gave me a cost. I said, holy cow! To actually have a margin on these, I'd have to sell these for like $50. Can I sell these? Everybody's selling 30 sticks on Amazon for $30. 30 sticks in a plastic bag for $30. How can I sell 3 12-inch sticks for $50? So I'm like, well, it's all in the marketing. It's all the innovation of the marketing. So his sticks were like a 1/4 inch wide. The other ones are like little tiny little straws. So that one thing you just look at, this looks like it's a much bigger, thicker, juicier steak or whatever. And then I was like, I got to package these so they feel premium. So I put them I found a cigar box and had this guy make these custom cigar boxes for me. And they felt like a little cigar box because some cigar boxes are like collectible boxes. And I had a nice little label made coming in Colorado. It had a texture, almost like a braille kind of, when you rub your finger over it, felt very luxurious. And I closed it with that. And then I did marketing around it where I created cartoons of split screen cartoons where you'd have a bunch of dogs and a beat up old jalopy driving through a McDonald's and you see a dollar menu and it's got all these like dog treats on the dollar menu and that's what they're ordering. And then it contrasts that with a steakhouse with like 6 dogs with bow ties sitting around a table in a nice steakhouse and a maitre d', another dog, maitre d' holding with its paws a tray with these like really elegant sticks on it and serving it to them. And then I showed, ours are made by hand with a knife in the picture, and the other ones are made on this nasty looking machine. And ours come from U.S. Made. You have a U.S. flag and U.S. made product, and the other ones are who knows where they're coming from. They're byproducts of stuff. And then I put it out. And so back then you were doing giveaways and heavy discounts to rank. I could rank for bully sticks, which is a big keyword, and get to page 1, but I could never stay on page 1 on bully sticks. I would spend a lot of money and get to page 1, but I just fall back off because everybody on page 1 is competing on price on the word bully stick. And they would see my 3 sticks for $50 and I get out of here, dude. You're crazy. I'm gonna buy 30 sticks for $30. But on other long tail keywords like bully sticks made in the USA, bully sticks no odor, bully sticks no stain, bully sticks premium bully sticks gift, all these other keywords that weren't as big, but they added up to a lot. I could easily rank on those and be number 1. And so on Amazon, people buy pictures. They don't always buy products. So if you can convince them in your image stack, why? Because they're like, why would I spend $50 for this? Are you crazy? But when they look through your images, like, oh wow, this looks amazing. Now I get it. I'm showing how mine compare to the other one. It's very, very clear. Like, okay, I want to give my dog the best. Okay, what the heck? I'll give these a try. Or these will make a great gift. And I put them on subscribe and save. I had some guy order 70 some odd times on subscribe and save. Of course, I got a couple bad reviews from time to time. I get someone give me a 1 star and say, "What a ripoff! This is the biggest ripoff on Amazon."
I only got 3. Well,
I
you saw it in the
got
picture.
$50. But then other people are like, these are awesome. Instead of my dog finishing this in 10 minutes, and the couch being stained and the house smelling like homeless shelter, it now it's been sitting here for 2 weeks.
Yeah.
And the dog's still working on it, and I love it. And then I had people do UCG content right when that was first starting, and one guy even like smelled it. He like held it under his nose in a demonstration video and smelled it. It's like no smell. And I just had a lot of really cool content around it, and it worked. And I sold a whole lot of them until the price of meats got a little bit too high. I got priced out because China started buying a lot of U.S. based meat around that time, and it kind of priced me out. So I had to quit selling them. But during the time I was selling them, the company that's the biggest in the space is a company called, they're out of Virginia, called Best Bully Sticks, and they actually saw what I was doing, and they're like, "How the hell is this guy selling this stuff?" 50, so they contacted me, and we created a partnership. So they had a bunch of other treats, antlers and pig feed, and excuse me.
That's another hack, bonus hack.
Duck treats and other stuff. And so we partnered up, and I did some of their stuff for a little while. It didn't work quite as well because I couldn't differentiate it. It was just Me Too product, and I tried with some different packaging, but it wasn't super successful because it was hard to differentiate it. And so the differentiation, the innovation is critical when it comes to success of a product.
Yeah, absolutely. Not only a product, but a service.
So when you said that night on that beach, 2018, I guess that was January 2018, I think, you're doing Billy Sticks. I'm like, oh, okay, good. No problem. I'm not worried. We're not competing for the same customer.
Right. Yeah. And I differentiated by putting tendons mixed in with the bully sticks so I could get a higher profit margin. So yeah, that was Colin and I that was doing that.
Oh yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cool. But just I wanted to bring that out because there's a lot of people that, first of all, we were talking about the being different on the podcast, but also you could do that as a brand. You could do that with a service. You've got to have something that's different than everybody else. If you don't, you're just a Me Too product, Me Too service, and you'll never stand out. Oh.
I mean, you look at it in a lot of industries. You look at the guys that are doing what's the guys that do these fancy trash cans? Simple human. That's it. The trash cans. Someone they go into the trash can business. Like, how can we differentiate our trash cans and get people to buy them? So they come up with this simple human design. And it says all this like silver, fine looking, fine lines, like almost the Apple iPod of trash cans or something. You look at Liquid Death. Liquid Death's like, I'm gonna get in the water business. What are we gonna do? We're gonna call it a cool name called Liquid Death, and we're gonna put it in a can, an aluminum can, and we're gonna market it in such a way now they're $1 billion valuation. You have when you create something, business is all about innovation and marketing. Those are the only two things that really matter when you boil it down to its essence, is innovation and marketing. Look at Apple. What's the key to Apple's success? Innovation and marketing. What's the key to almost any big successful company? Tesla, anybody that you admire out there, Google, and anybody. It's all the top. It's innovation and marketing.
So, Kev, I've got to interrupt. I forgot to do something about 10 minutes ago, and that is the Wheel of Kelsey. So if this is the first time you're listening to the podcast, we do something unique at the top of the hour, and that's give away a prize. If you want to enter it, it's just hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, and you'll get a second entry. And I've been told by Kelsey he's going to be up live at 6 a.m. Hawaiian time to be on the Wheel of Kelsey. So just if you're interested, hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you get a second entry. I got to figure out something to give away. Let me see. Oh, how about we give away? I'll give away a press release. All right. If anybody wants a press release or a blog article written, send it over and we'll distribute it through our channels as well. So you'll probably get anywhere from around 400 media pickups. So interested in a press release, it's hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, tag 2 people, you'll get a second entry.
Hey, I've got another event coming up in September that's going to be kind of unique for this space. I think you might be out at it as well. September 12th to the 16th. My friends, well, you know him too, David Gonzalez started doing this last year. He called him a think tank. I've got a little bit different name. You can find out about it at billiondollarsellersummit.com. But it's pretty cool. We've got this Gatsby house, this like 12 bedroom, 3-story house. It's got a cigar bar, a whiskey tasting room, a barbecue area, pickleball court, a dock, a helicopter pad, 2 kitchens, a movie theater. It's set up as like the old Gatsby, and we're bringing in a lot of the Dream 100. You're a Dream 100 member from the $1 Billion Seller newsletter, and we're bringing in 8 to 10 people that are paying to come that are having a specific issue in their business. So maybe they're having trouble hiring people, or maybe they're thinking about expanding to Europe and they're just not sure what to do, or they know they need to get off of Amazon, they need to get on Shopify, or they need to get on a TikTok, but I need specific help for my business. I don't want to listen to a presentation where I might glean a couple things. I need specific help for my business. And so what you do is you pay to come, and not only do you get to hang around for a 3-day weekend, go to eat some nice meals. I'm bringing in my chef, bringing in my sous, free massages, free food, home cooked meals in the place. You're networking with all these top people, but you get about 2.5 to 3 hours to sit in a hot seat. And so you tell me what your problem is, and maybe I'm just making this up. I want to set up Shopify. I want to start crushing on Shopify. I'm doing 2 million a year on Amazon. I want to get to 1 million a year next year on Shopify. What do I need to do specifically for me? So you get in this hot seat, and I'll curate 6 to 8 people that know about Shopify. And some of these might be Dream 100 people. Some of these might be people that are outside of the Dream 100 that are local, or I fly them in because they have a specific talent that can help you. And they sit there for 3 hours with you. And the first 15 minutes, you tell about your business. Hi, I'm Kevin King. Been selling on Amazon this long. I have this brand, this brand, this brand. We do about this much in sales. We've got 21 SKUs. Our top 3 SKUs account for most of our sales. What a background story. The next 45 minutes or so, we have a moderator. I think David is going to be the moderator. He's very good at it. And the experts ask questions of you. So they'll say, oh, so tell me your margins on your SKU. Tell me, how do people find you? They'll ask very pinpointed questions. And then the next hour and a half is all solutions tailored towards you. So it's like, oh, okay, this one SKU here, this is exactly what you need to do. You need to change the packaging. It needs to say this. You need to go to this person, this agency, or this specific person. You need to launch it in this particular way. You need to add this, this, and this. And you at the end of this 3 hours, you walk away with like just a mind full of enlightening, actionable stuff, very specific to your business. And then there's people that if they don't want to sit in the hot seat, I have a handful of seats available where you can just sit in the audience. There's like 5 people. You're sitting on a couch. It's not like a classroom stuff. And you just listen. You're like a fly on the wall, and you can learn a lot that way. And then the rest of the time is networking. And so some of the experts will be in on 2 or 3 panels, and the rest of the time they're just hanging out, enjoying each other's company and smoking cigars and eating good food and chatting with other people. It's going to be about 20, 25 people total at this thing. I think it's going to be really, really cool. It's never been done before in the Amazon space, and David's now doing it in the internet marketing space and bringing in people, and it's working really well. Really well. I've been on an expert panel on like at 2 of his events, and it's really cool. We're also doing something in August. We have the Collective Mind Society. We have our train trip.
Yes, we do. And
So
that's so awesome. We've actually been planning this for a while. We decided to delay it last year because we wanted to get the best hotel rooms possible, and we've been able to secure that. So in August, I think, what are the dates? 4th till the 9th, right?
4th to the 9th of August, starting in Vancouver, Canada, and ending up in Calgary, Canada. We're meeting in Vancouver, 16 of us maximum. Me and you will be there. Kelsey, I think, is coming, and
Yep.
we got several other people. This is not presentations or anything. This is entrepreneurs hanging out, having a good time, breaking bread, sharing stories, making bonds and networks. We did one for the F1 a couple years ago that was just amazing.
That was awesome.
And so we're starting in Vancouver with a nice meal in a really nice restaurant. The next day we get on a train, and we spend the next 2 days traveling on this train through the Canadian Rockies. Just beautiful scenery. This train has we're in a car that has a clear glass ceiling on top, so you can see everything. They serve you meals on the train. We stay in a hotel we don't sleep on the train. We stay in a hotel on the first night of the train, and then we end up at this hotel that you just mentioned that we want to get on Lake Louise. Stunning lake, the Fairmont Hotel, which sells out every year. And we got that hotel for a couple nights to just hang out, have some nice meals, sit on the balcony, sit on the lawn, go out in the water if you want to. This stunning, just little natural lake in this little mountainous cove, and have some cigars and whiskey and who knows what else. And then we're going up on the Icefields Parkway, which is really cool. Walk on a glacier, see some other really cool natural beauty, and then head over to Calgary and fly out of there. It's going to be an amazing trip. We've got a few seats left. The price includes everything. So it does not include your airfare. So if you go to the website, it includes all your food, all your hotel. These are expensive hotels. It's high season. And once you go, you'll see like, I get it now. I get why this was so damn expensive for this hotel. I've done it. I haven't done the train, but I've done the hotel and the other parts of the trip. It's going to be cool. So if you want to find out about that, go to Collective Minds with an S society.com, collectivemindssociety.com, and all the details are there. And maybe you can join us, or you and a buddy or a colleague, or you and your wife or husband or whatever. Check it out. We'd love to have you. We got a couple spots left.
All right. Yes. And I can't wait for August to come up. That's going to be a blast. All right, Kev, thanks for joining me today. I do have to do one sponsorship thing, and I'll do that right now while you're here. So I want to talk about Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. Where's Kelsey with the banner? Unfortunately, it's going to have to be just like this. I look like Kilroy. So my buddy, Colin Campbell, wrote this book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. And he breaks down his entrepreneurial journey over the last 20, 30 years. And he's interviewed over 200 people. So what he's done is he's created each module, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat, broken it into 4 sections, and then broken that into subsections. So it's almost like a business referral. So reference guide. So no matter where you are on your entrepreneurial journey, you'll be able to benefit from this book, Start, Scale, Exit, Repeat. There we go, somewhere in there. And you can get this on Amazon in either a Kindle, soft, or hardcover, and it's also available on Audible. All right, now I do have to do this. So if you haven't put in your hashtag Wheel of Kelsey, give me a second because I'm not used to doing this. I know Kelsey's got this music in here somewhere. I'll get to, here we go. All right, hold on.
It's time for the Wheel of Kelsey.
And congratulations, whoever won. There we go. Woo! And Kelsey, thank you for getting up at 6 a.m. to run the wheel. All right, everybody. All right, Kevin, I'll see you in a couple hours.
Yeah, we're going to have a good time. Some more BDSS and then level up.
Want more great information? Don't forget to subscribe by clicking here. Also, if you want to check out our latest podcasts, click over here.
Lunch with the